Hello, welcome back to the Subspace biweekly developer sync. We'll be updating progress on the project, addressing any concerns there may be or hot topics coming out of Discord or with the community and such. So to get started, why don't we introduce our newest developer on the team, Dastan. Do you mind saying hi?
Hey guys, again, I'm Dastan and I joined the protocol team. I've been working mostly with Subspace for the last 3-4 years. Yeah, I'm excited to join Subspace, and yeah, nice to meet you all.
We're certainly excited to have you as well. I think I first met Dastan when I first started back in the end of 2022, yeah, so over a year ago, but I'm glad to have you on the team. So, all right, let's give a update on the state of Gemini 3H. As I last checked earlier this morning, we were at about 8,400 nodes. I do think that's down a bit from where we had peaked. I think we got over 9,000. Also, when I checked last night, we were at 65 petabytes. Now I think we're closer to 58, but there's some randomness around that. And no matter how you look at that, there's a big number. So very excited to see storage on the network growing. I think since last time, also we had the reward issuance upgrade to the network that has been behaving as expected, from my understanding. If that's not the case, somebody can bring that up. But everybody should have seen their rewards kind of shift. Voters getting less, a little bit less, and block authors getting a bit more. So beyond that, in the general kind of ecosystem, Jim, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, hi everyone. So specifically on the dynamic reward issuance, Daria did put an update into our internal Slack saying that it is behaving as expected. She also mentioned that we are coming up on an inflection point in the graph. I can't remember whether I think that makes it steeper than it has been. So you may see the value, the number of TSSC you're receiving drop a little bit quicker, but it's very slow. This is kind of a very gradual process. So, but again, it's nothing to worry about, of course, because we all know, all of our farmers understand that we are counting the number of block and vote rewards rather than the amount of TSSC in your wallet. And okay, so specifically from ecosystem though, so we don't really have any hot topics. I like to try and stay abreast of all the chat that goes on in Discord and on the forum to kind of make sure that we understand what's important to our farmers and the issues that they're having. But at the moment, similar to last DevSync update, we don't have any real hot topics that are preventing farmers from earning their TSSC, which are the ones that I really like to surface on this call. So we're going to be quite short today. But yeah, and testament to the fact that there aren't any real big problems, the incredible numbers that Jeremy has dropped, 65 petabytes, that is amazing. But we are still seeing edge cases surfacing. And I'd like to make sure that everyone understands that if you can't get the support you need in Discord, we've got a wonderful network of dedicated farmers who are providing kind of first line P2P support. The best course of action is for you to raise a forum post with as much detail as possible on it. And a great example of that is something I was reading about today. I was catching up on a very interesting thread, how best to utilize the 128 epic cores in a dual 7532 setup. Sector encoding concurrency, which is what's being tweaked, tops out at 8. I believe. Well, that particular setup has a impressive 32 level 3 cache groups. So the guy who raised the issue is going to raise a thread on the forum, and I imagine Nazar will probably be interested to see these kind of high-end setups and how to tune them. And another reason why our update this week is a little bit short is because the ecosystem team, that's myself and Emil represented on the call here, but it's also Fredik and Ryan. We have not been as available as usual because we are currently heads down working on a community learning resource currently in review. It lays out the next phase of the project, a number of the products we're working on, and an explanation of where we're going with Subspace. We do hope to have some important updates for everyone on this before the next DevSync, so in the next fortnight. And if everything goes to plan, our ideal is that the artifact will be in everyone's hands by then. But it does depend on feedback and refinement. And that's everything I've got for ecosystem this week. Thanks, Jeremy.
All right, thank you, Jim. All right, what else do we have? Ning, we've had some issues with domains since I think launching Gemini 3H. We've been testing internally. Some of us operators have had the pleasure of getting slashed, which is why we do internal testing first. You want to kind of talk to what's going on there and what we've done?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so on Gemini 3H, we had learning some operator internally, mostly by Subspace, and we have recently made some changes on the domain size, especially on the how we driving the ERs, and because these changes are on the current side, so different user running on different lists may have using different rule to drive the ERs, and which cause some fraud pool and also slash to some honest operators, unfortunately. And we have made some workaround to fix the issues on Gemini 3H. So to ensure that user who had joined the domain network later sync from Genus won't get slashed and he will produce all the ERs. We are fixing this issue on the May branch tools. And while we are will ensure such issue won't be happen again. And if it is indeed happen like in mainnet, we will approach a government process to get the operator who had slash accidentally get refunds. So hopefully we do not go to that step, but yeah, just in case. And there are also another issue with the bundles limit check. We had recently also had performed some consent chain runtime upgrades that had deployed a recent feature we had introduced, namely the bundle limit checks. So the right now we do not check again like the bundles again the maximum domain block limits, but instead we had tried bundle limits out of the domain blocks. Maximum domain block limits, and we will perform the check against these limits with the bundles. But we are unfortunately there are also some issues on the current size that the operator may keep putting keep including transfer into the bundle even the limit exists. And this issue is also fixed and released. And there was also another minor issue about because we are switching the check to the bundle level, so the maximum exchange weights will be more smaller. And so if user is sending a transaction that require a lot of weights like log computations that may fail to include by the bundles. So we are also tracking this issue and plan to fixing it by increasing some of the limits so user so we can work on most of the case. And there are the last one is about SDMs. We're also doing some tests on the SDM. There are also issue about to constructing the MMR pros. We had in the SDM v2, we had recently introducing MMR in SDM for to increase our securities, but there are some issues because the MMR storage also storing on the current size, and there are some issue that in some case the layer may not able to generating that MMR pools, and so the SDM will stuck in the changed and cannot be related. We also noted the issues, and we are still has some approach fixing test, and that I will be handled like mostly this week or next. Yeah, that is most of the issue we have met.
Great. On the bundle limit, there's an open PR, correct? That will increase the size a bit of the
Yes.
bundle limits to let some of the extrinsics through that are stuck at the moment.
Yeah, right. There are actually two fixes. One is on the client side, which also merge and release, and the second one is on the runtimes, and that's still under review. But after it's merged, we can provide consenting runtime upgrades to deploy the change.
Cool. All right. Moving on. I've had to upgrade my space acres a couple times, and I know there's continued stream of farming improvements have been coming out. Nazar, do you want to speak to that?
Sure. Hey guys. There are a few. I think can note bug fixes first. There were fixes for scrubbing command. There are some small features added there. There was a fix for node desync. There was an interesting edge case where some nodes that were stuck in the past were announcing blocks which are too old, and due to the way how software is implemented, it was causing some expensive checks on those old blocks. Now we just ignore those announcements. That was happening rarely, but I think it was impacting quite a few farmers in a bad way. And after that, there were some error handling improvements, both on Space Acres and CLI side. Basically, when the farm is crashing for some reason, like the disk disappears or something like that happens, previously the whole application basically was going down. So like in case of CLI, the whole farmer was going down, and in case of Space Acres, the whole thing was basically erroring out. What will happen now is a farmer will run in CLI until the last farm crashes. And in the Space Acres case, the node will keep running even if all farms are crashing. It will just show an error on each of them, which should be a much better experience in case you have one faulty drive, but the rest of the system is basically working. We'll see how it works, but so far we've seen some reports that farmers were very crashing, but the rest of the thing will still like farming and working, which is great. There were some networking investigations. We basically came to a conclusion that Quick protocol, which is UDP based, is likely causing us problems. So the latest release disables, like physically removes support for Quick from the DSN code and uses TCP instead. And there will be upcoming improvements in the future release that will apply some tuning coming from upstream link peer-to-peer to TCP specifically to make it even faster than Quick was before. Which wasn't the case in the past, and was one of the reasons why we were trying to use Quick. And there were some Space Acre specific fixes. For example, there was support added for old processors, meaning processors before Skylake. There were a few users that wanted to use Space Acres, but it wasn't supported for efficiency reasons. And now it will kind of detect that in runtime which version to use. It will ship as both builds, which means that the executable is like installer is larger, but it's not that large to cause major problems. And also there are some small UX improvements. For example, you can pause plotting if you want. It will continue farming, but it will not use as much CPU if you have something important happening in your machine right now. So all of those things basically improve farmer experience in one way or the other, either by fixing something or adding a small thing. But for the most part, we are just trying to make sure we have improvements and not regressions. And there were some smaller, less notable changes under the covers.
I also think I've seen some activity in the Space Acres from some community members. Is this correct?
There are a few pull requests with different changes. One of them was actually merged in one of the last releases, and there is another one upcoming as well.
That's great to see. You know, Jim and Emil have been hard at work trying to generate some of that. So good job, guys. All right. Finally, I'll go ahead and give some updates on won't give too detailed of updates, and I know Jim and community team's also going to be discussing some of the issues around what we call auto, which will be kind of coming out in an education resource. But I will say that we have been hard at work kind of defining and developing this whole stack of products built on Subspace. It includes, we've got a DEX that will be launching on Nova soon. We have a bridge, hopefully, that will be working to be able to bridge from a testnet to Nova. We've been working on an identity domain, so we'll be adding a new runtime to kind of the domains. It won't just be EVM, and working on an SDK that will tie all of these things together. So over the next few weeks, you should see a lot more activity in this kind of product suite. I know community will also be in the ecosystem. Will be putting out a lot of information about it, but there's a lot going on, so it's very exciting. Yeah. Yes, Jim.
Yeah, I didn't know you were going to drop the names, but yeah, exciting stuff there. Auto swap, auto ID. Don't worry too much if they're if they're kind of the first time you're hearing these terms. The artifact that I alluded to earlier, the education plan, the learning resource, is going to talk directly to them. But yeah, thanks, Jeremy. And also, I just wanted to. There was something I forgot as well. That last week we held our last workshop. Emil hosted, Nazar did the legwork, but we now have a series of videos on YouTube for developers who want to take a run at contributing to the Space Acres repository. There's some great resources there for getting set up with the tool chain on Linux, on Windows. And last week's video was particularly interesting because it kind of gave you a bit of a guided tour on how the code all hangs together. So it's a great introduction. I didn't want to miss that out. It was something important from ecosystem I missed from my notes. Apologies. Thanks, Jeremy.
Great. Is there anything else before we kind of sign off for the week? Okay. I will say we have this scheduled for in 2 weeks, since this is obviously a bi-weekly call. I do believe a lot of us will be traveling that Monday. I think Jim will be hopping over the pond, and we'll be all in, a bunch of us in Palo Alto for some on-sites, so leadership on-site. Also, a workshop/conference in the valley there that we'll be attending, or a few of us will be attending. So all that said, I haven't. This call may get delayed a week, but it will have hopefully a lot more information if it is delayed a week. So since we'll have spent the previous week all together, kind of driving things forward. So, all right. Well, if nobody's got anything else, I will go ahead and turn off the recording. All right. We'll see everybody in a couple weeks.